Hi, I'm following along with Paul McWhorter's Fusion 360 and 3D printing lessons. I've been using Fusion 360 and 3D printing for 5+ years. I just enjoy watching Paul teach, and always fun to see how others solve problems. So that was kind of fun. This is lesson 8 and working on extrusions, and he gave a homework of making a case sort of like an eyeglass case where you have two halves that slide inside of each other. And I figured I'd go ahead and draw it up and 3D print it and get it done. So I got it done. And so here's the two pieces. Like I say, I work in inches, so I got a 2-inch top and a 3-inch bottom. And it's about 1 inch by 2 inches in that direction, and they slide together. You can see the line that where they slide in, and then maybe inside here you can see this line just a little bit in there. Yeah, you can see it just down there. So they slide together. I chose to have a 10 thousandths clearance. I knew that would give clearance on my 3D printer, but after I did, I said, well, I probably should have made it a little tighter so that they don't fall apart without help pulling it apart. So like I said, I used a 10 thousandths clearance on that one. I think I'm going to redraw it for you guys and do it with only 8 thousandths clearance, which I think it equates to about probably 0.2 millimeters for those doing metric clearance. So let's go ahead and get to the Fusion 360, make myself smaller and move it over and choose Fusion 360. All right, so if you've watched my past videos, you know that I like to work with components and try to have it assembled in place. So that's what I'm going to do for this project. So probably a little different than Paul's going to show you, but I like this workflow and it works for me. So hope maybe people see a different way of doing things. We'll start with a sketch. We're on the XY plane. I like a center rectangle. So we're going to center rectangle, start in the center and pull it out. And like I said, it's going to be 2 inches by 1 inch. And enter. All right, so we got that, and then we want to, of course, we want to put some fillets on it. So we want to fillet this to this, to this, to this, and it's saying a 200 thousandths fillet, and I like a 1/4 inch fillet, so I'm gonna go 0.25 for that. So that's good for that. We got that done. Now, like I said, I like to have it assembled in place. And one of the good things about doing that is you can do it with just a single sketch, because we can work both ways on it. So what we want to do is I want to have the thick shell is going to be a 0.1 inch or 100 thousandths inch. And the thin shell is going to be just shy of 50 thousandths for each side. So we need to put offset plane. So like I said, so we're going to do offset plane. We want to offset this, and it's actually offsetting to the inside this time. So we want to offset by 0.054 for this one, and then hit OK. And then we want to do another offset plane, and we want this one to be 0.046. So I have a 046 and a 054, so that gives us just 8 thousandths in between the two. That's our actual, when we create our parts, that's going to be the clearance on them. And like I said, last time I had 055 and 045. So it's going to be 2,000 closer, but we'll see how that works out for us. So anyhow, that's really all we need for a sketch. So we're going to finish our sketch. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now we want to create our two components, and we want to, I like to do it just in rough first and then finish them up the way we want to do it. So we want to E for extrude, and we want to make sure we get them all. So we want to extrude this, this, and this, and we want to extrude it down 3 inches. So we want to extrude it down 3 inches. So that'd be -3. All right. And then we don't want a new body. We want a new component. So we're going to choose new component. And we're going to say OK. All right. So now we got that. So now we need, since we got a new component, we might as well name it. This is going to be our bottom, B-O-T-T-O-M. All right. And enter for that. And then we want to extrude again. And we want, well, we'll have to turn our sketch on because it went off. So we got our sketch back. Now we want to extrude again. And again, we want to make sure we get all 3 of them. So we got to get in close enough to get all 3 of them. So we're going to select this one, and this one. All right. And this time we want to extrude in the positive direction. And just the way I'm making this, I'm only going to go up 1 inch. So 1. And we don't want to join. We want to make a new component. Okay. Okay. Now you notice we got the 2 colors here. That's because we're using our inspect, and we've got our color cycling for components on. So that's what that's about. So that's why they're in 2 different colors. If you click that toggle, they'd go back to gray. So, all right. So now we got the 2 components. So what we do is we want to work with just 1 component at a time. Oh, I didn't rename this one. So slow click twice, and then we want to rename that to the TOP. All right. So now we got the top, but I want to turn off the top component, and I want to turn off the sketch. And what I want to do is, Paul hasn't got around to this yet, but it's a really good command. I'm going to shell it out, and I'm going to choose this, and I want 0.1 shell, and that just puts the shell out there for us. And while we're at it, we might as well turn the other one on and turn this one off, flip it over, and do the same thing on this. Make sure you get the right side again. We want to shell it. We want to shell this at 0.1. And there we go. We got that done. And go home. And up. Turn both of them on and go home. All right. So now we got them, but they don't have their sliding parts in yet. So we'll go ahead. Like I said, we're going to turn the top off and work on the bottom first. So, and we want to turn our sketch back on, our only sketch. So what we want to do is we want to actually extrude this part down. We're going to have the cut on the bottom part. As you can see in this one, the cut's on the bottom. So we want to cut. So what do we want to cut? We want to E for extrude, and we want to cut the outside thickness, plus we want to go ahead and cut our clearance as well, or our clearance fit as well. Okay, and we want to do that. We got both of those selected, and we want to go down. So we want to -1 inch. And we do want to cut here because this is all working on the 1 component. You can see that the dot went to that component, so it knows it's doing it on that component. And we can just say OK. All right. And you can see we got that done. And now we can turn this off and turn this one back on. And this time, we want to turn this around a little bit. We want to pull that down, but we only want to pull the outside part down. So we don't want to bring out the clearance. We only want to bring out the outside. So we want to E for extrude, and we just want to extrude this down and this, and then we want to come 1 inch. Whoops, and -1 inch, I guess. So -1. There we go. And it's asking about join, and that's what we want this time because we want to join it. All right. So you can see the ridge inside of here now. So let's go ahead and turn the sketch off. I think we're finished with it. So we got our ridge inside of there. And we got this part. So we turn them both on. You got to put together. Another cool thing that we haven't got to in Paul's classes yet is with our inspect, we can do what they call section analysis, where you can actually cut through the part and see what you got. So I want to cut on this plane, and we want to go into it, and we want to go up to where they're actually 2 pieces. And so this is where you have parts of the inner and the outer, and you can see we have our clearance. And it's an even clearance all the way around with that offset thing. Nice and clearance. And that's all we had to do to it, actually. So we're done with that. So we'll just say okay and go back to home. Oh, probably need to get rid of that. Analysis, there we go. And we want to just delete that. There we go, back in business. Yeah, the sectional analysis showed up in our tree browser over here. So now you can just turn one off and turn both off and turn the other one on. Like I say, you can see up in there. All right, so that should be all we have to do. So I know Paul doesn't like go below the line, the planes on this, but it really doesn't matter. Because if you're going to 3D print it, you can always get it flat when you go take it to the slicer, and that's what we're going to do now. So I probably actually still have the other one in the slicer, so you'll see it when we go in there, but I'm going to go ahead and do it again just to make sure. So what you do is you only choose one at a time, and you say that I want to 3D print, and you want to select that. And like I say, make sure it's in millimeters, even though we're sketching and designing in inches, you want to export it as millimeters for the 3D printer. And we just say okay, and we want to do it, and we want to, I'm going to call it, I think you can see I already got it done. Eyeglass case, and this is the top, so TOP. And it's going to ask me, yes, I want to replace it, because I did it with the 10,000ths clearance, and now I'm doing it with the 8,000ths clearance. So now you turn off the top and turn on the bottom, and we do the same thing. 3D print, and we select it, one selected, and we hit OK. And we want to call it eyeglass case bottom. And just choose that to replace it, and say yes, I want to replace it. All righty. So that's all we have to do there. And then, like I say, you guys, I think a lot of you are using Cura, but there's the ones that we have. So I am going to get myself out of the way now. And go back here, and then we can just delete these. All right. And now we're going to go ahead and bring them in. So we want to file, open, and we want to open the top. And now this is where it's open, but if you notice that it's upside down, which is, don't want to print that way. And not sure how you do it. There's a way to flip it in Cure as well, but if you do this here, you select it and you just tell it that you want this to be on the bottom, and now you're done. And now it's right side up. So we're good. Then we're going to import the other one. And it's going to put it right over top of the other one, but we can move it out of the way. Just move it out of the way. And this one's right side up, so we don't have to do anything with it. You can see. That's all there is to it. And I'm going to say we want to slice now, and let's slice, so we want to look at it. I'm in my way again. Let me move out of the way, and then you can bring this down. You can see that the walls on this are mostly perimeters. I use 3 perimeters on almost all my prints. 3 perimeter, even with 100 thousandths width, you're getting all perimeters. So that helps out. You don't have all that when you're printing out those little internal spaces. So I like to do it that way. So anyhow, that's all there is to it. And like I said, hopefully you end up with something like this when you're done. And if I reprint it, it should be a little tighter than this. There's nothing wrong with this case, but it just doesn't hold together. So anyhow, thanks for watching, and I look forward to more lessons with Paul. Have a good day.